Hello and welcome to episode 6 of creating our VFX selection and destination markers. In this episode we're going to implement a setup so we can demonstrate what we've been creating in the last 5 episodes. So the first thing I want to create is, and if you've got the player pawn from any of the other tutorials, you should be able to just drag that in and use that. I'm going to create the most basic character pawn for this that you've ever seen, so let's do that. We're going to call it RTS camera on. Put this in framework folder. So we'll move those up. And in here, we're going to have some properties. Ooh. So we're going to set up some input settings, and we're going to need a input mapping context. Put. There it is. So we need to include the H. Oh, we can add a forward declaration here, actually. Always make that same thing. Now I'm going to call this mapping context default. So this is just what I'd normally have on a data asset or something. I'm just going to assign it directly. So let's copy this again. This one will be my single input action that I'm going to forward deck again. I'm going to call that select action. And then we'll need a function to handle that. So we'll just call it void select. That's an action value. That should be fine there. I think I accidentally deleted the last bracket somehow. Go figure. So let's just build that. Put that down the bottom. Move these up. Get rid of all this crap. This probably wants the action, does it? Oh, context. I don't know. Do this just to make things happy. What do I call the other one? Action, something? Select action. So to set up the single input that we're going to have, we're going to need a reference to the enhanced input. To include the enhanced input component H. Now, if our select action is not null, then we're going to assign the input for it. So bind action, the action that we want to bind, which is that select action, the trigger event. For this, we're just going to do when it's triggered. I don't need anything fancy. That's just so I can demonstrate the destination by clicking somewhere. And we need to point it to our, what do we call it? Input select. So that's the action bound. We want to load our mapping context, so we're going to need a reference to our player controller. So just a generic player controller. Always on a pawn, so you can always just do get controller, remember that. We need our enhanced input subsystem for this, so there it is, input subsystem. So include the H for that. And the reason why we needed the player controller is because we want to get our local player. Actually, I think I did the wrong one. I think this would be local player subsystem. I'm just going to change that. Don't need, what do I do? Subsystem. Take those out. Not this one. Oh, it's the same include anyway. Come on here. Yeah. Alright, so to get that, that's what we needed the local player controller for. So it's we call it player controller. Hope that doesn't conflict with anything. But yeah, local player. So that gets the subsystem because it's a local player subsystem. In here, we need to well, first of all, check our mapping context. Not equal to null pointer. And if it's not, oh, we needed, oh, sorry, and it's not already the context, so input subsystem as mapping context. So yeah, that's just to make sure you don't assign it to us or anything crazy. And then we can assign it if it's not there. Or add it. I guess is a better description, isn't it? And the priority is just 0. We don't have any other ones anyway, so it doesn't matter. Alright, so enhanced input. Inside the player controller reference here, we're going to now just set like our input mode, I guess is the best description of it. Let's just say we can, is it just probably the mode you'd have for an RTS, you know, so you can see the mouse, whatever else. Hide cursor on capture is false, so that's annoying. Basically hides the mouse when you click. Set lock to viewport behavior. I'm going to set that to do not lock because we're using Windows in the in the editor or whatever. The last ones we need to, for the player controller, set the input mode to our input mode we just assigned above. And then for the player controller, we want to show the mouse cursor also. That should, oh sorry, oh I did should show, not set. Set show mouse cursor, is that right? Yep. Right, that's our input done. And then when we do get an input, we just want to palm it off to our player controller. So we could set up an interface for that, I guess, but I think we'll just cast to our player controller. We're going to create a new player controller type. So gonna come back to this, I think, yeah. So let's do that first. Go to our framework. Is there a player controller in here? No. So add just a generic player controller. And I'm going to go to our component, grab this. Alright, so in here, oops, where do we go? In our player controller, we want to, actually we're going to need a tick, so let's add a tick. And we need something, a function to call from our pawn for the input. So let's just call it on select. Doesn't really matter what you call that. And we'll need, we need to begin play. Actually, yeah, we will need to begin play because we're gonna spawn a unit. So we'll do that on begin play as player controller. And then we're just gonna need some crappy U properties here. So I'm not going to implement selections. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create just a reference for, it'll just be a reference for the character that we spawn. So I'm going to call it selected because it makes sense somewhere. And yeah, U property. So that will just be a reference to our character that we're going to test with. And then we need a class for that character. So I'm just going to assign that in Blueprint. So I want to set up a whole loadout for this test character. It's going to be a class of character or actor. You can do whatever there. Player's character. I don't know. Oh, let's call it entity class. There we go. Alright, let's implement those. So I guess we can start with begin play. We want to, if the entity class is not null, and we want to have, if we don't have authority, we want to return, so we're not creating any unit on the client or anything crazy. If you, it's even multiplayer. Let's go on there. Oh, let's include a character. Right, very good. So we're going to need a spot to spawn this guy. I'm going to actually move, so rather than just do 0, 0, 0, I'm going to move him off 0, 0, 0. So if we have any problems with our markers and they're sitting at 0, 0, 0, it won't look like it's on the unit. So I'm just going to spawn him. I could get into trouble here. I'm just going to move it slightly off. We can adjust this if he's spawning in something. There'll be 200 up in the air, won't it? I'll have to do like that. Or 1, just to be safe. So we're going to assign it to selected, so it's sort of simulating that we just selected this unit. And we'll have to reference that and dereference it. We don't need any params. We're going to throw that in like that. That should get us our entity to play with. And before we go on with this, I'm going to grab this, come back to our pawn, and we're going to call, we'll just call it player and select. We'll cast our player controller. So is it a, oh, I called it, yeah, RTS marker demo player controller. It was not. There we go. So when we select somewhere on the map, we want to pass to our selected entity, assuming we've got someone selected, that we want to give them a destination, basically. So if we, to get to our entity, we're just going to use our pointer, our interface, sorry. So RTS marker interface, and that's added the include at the top there, and we're just going to call it same as always. And we're casting our selected. The assumption is that we have selection and we just selected something or something is selected, and if we don't have anything selected, this will be null and it won't do anything. So we need a mouse position to get the location that we want to use. Yeah, we'll create a function. Or I'm so used to having this function in my project, so I'm just typing it. And yeah, that's good. And then once we have the position, we're going to update use our update location function on the interface. And it's going to be mouse location, and this is specifically for the marker type of destination. Did we implement that? We did, didn't we? We come to our character. Aha, I didn't recall doing that. Alright, so that's because we only just assigned, where was it, on our register. We only just assigned our components. So on update, we are once again going to do that same switch using that marker type. And then we'll check if our component is valid, our reference to it. And then we'll pass it on. And that's why we don't need the type on the actual component, because it's just for this part of the interface. Oh, that was selection. Oh. Oh, we'll just have it there anyway. So we don't really need one for selection. The one that we were looking for before. So that will handle our update locations. Update preview is going to be similar to this. And this will be the same. Like so. Alright, back to our don't need interface. Our player controller. So that's all good. We just need to create this function here. And put it here. And what we might do is go to our component, get our terrain and location normal, and copy this. And let's do that, include that. Now you can either have, I'm going to use the same trace channel here, but there you could have a separate setting for that somewhere. But yeah, up to you. I'm just going to replace this with get world this time and remove the normal. We're not doing it this way. We do need a hit, but we need to use the project mouse position to world, and then we pass in, find them. We need a world location and a world direction. Really need the world direction, but we need it for this. So they'll set those, and then the world location will be the start, and the end will be the world location plus the world direction times some distance. Use our usual 10k or 100 meters. I'd add a 0. Alright, so that is good. Are we using that already? Yeah, that's good. So the last one we want to do is, well, here we can just be looking for selected. And then on tick, we want to do the same sort of thing, but we want to do it for our preview. We can copy all of this, and it was called update preview, and we just need to pass the mouse location. For the purposes of this example, in this tick here, just to make sure that if you turn on the only show if selected, we're going to set selected to true. Just, normally you'd do this when you select something, but you'd set the component for that entity to true when he's selected or whatever, but I'm not implementing selection, so I'm just going to set selected to true. So it's always true. All right. So I think that's it. I don't think I need to do a game mode or anything like that. I can do that in the editor. For the pawn, I haven't added a camera. I'll just do that in the editor. Let's go into the editor. So I'm going to come to content. I'm going to create a new folder called framework. And I'm just going to create all the blueprint stuff in here. So I need the, what do we call it? I'm going to need a character. So I'm going to, oh no, this is the player. Let's do that one. So this will be player controller. I'm going to need a player. I'm going to need a game mode, which would just be a standard game mode. So I can assign these. Game mode base. And I'm going to need a character. So I'm going to create another blueprint. I've got blueprints here, but I'm going to create I don't need the blueprint. Oh, no, because I need to inject I was editing in that class, so that would work. I could probably just use that one. Yeah, I'll just use that one. Well, let's just check. Does it have? The marker asset, that's what we need to set. I'm setting it to my default marker, so that's all the data for the marker. Right, that's character done. Let's save all these. Oh, we need to add the camera. So let's add a spring arm. Add a camera. Let's change that to, I don't know, that'll be negative, won't it? Negative. Spring arm, I don't know, 1000. I think that's good. Now what settings do we have on the player controller? Oh, the entity class. That'll be here somewhere. Under RTS test. Maybe not. Oh, this is the camera pawn. What am I talking about? There is stuff to set on here, and it's under input. Let's say, why did I forget that? It's there. Settings. Let's create the assets anyway. Content, new folder, new folder, and under input, action. This will just be IA select. It's going to default to a bool type, so I don't even need to go into that. And then typing context. Left mouse button, I'll do. Now I've got to figure out why. Oh, I'm on the spring arm. God damn it. I called it IM, didn't I? Yeah. There we go. That should be good. That's good. Save on compile. And back to our framework. And what do we got? Player controller. And we need to set our entity class to our BP third person character. So now we need to set all this stuff in our game mode. So our player controller, our default player is our player, B player. And I think that's it. The rest is just default. And we can assign that in world settings here, or in the, I think that'll work here. No, maybe not. Let's assign it in here, just to be safe. We assign, yeah, we did assign our data, that's good. Yeah, I think that was working for some reason. It's not kicking off. So let's do, oh, I didn't build a debug build. I'm going to change this to debug, rebuild. So in order to debug our what's going on, let's start here, where we spawn a character. It's that. That's all good. Maybe spawning inside something. Have a look. Third person character. Oh, he's somewhere. Oh, right. So let's just get rid of some stuff. Oh, what do I in play mode for? Make this a bit bigger. And maybe not that big. And let's just shift it. And I'm going to change the spawn location because 000 was in that bottom corner. So I'll make it 500. Should put him here somewhere, hopefully. Oh, sorry, I'm going to rebuild. Build. Almost. Let's make it simpler. How did that not get selected? There we go. There's our character. And our markers aren't working. Alright. Let's see what's happening. So let's check our data, make sure everything's assigned. It is. What did I have to check? Oh yeah, the material. So I've got a feeling I forgot another step, actually. Yeah. I think I've forgot to assign. Let's just check this. So this needs to be that. That's what I was talking about. Oh, it's here, isn't it? There we go. So that's that. So that'll, if we change the marker, that'll update it. Well, let's just check. Is he getting a component? Be able to click on him here. No components. So why is that so? Demo play controller character. That was weird. Okay. Create markers. Are we not calling? Oh, we are. Yes, on load data. So let's check that we calling. Oops. Let's start here. That's going in. That's valid. It's going to jump to load. Create markers, sorry. Let's go to there. What's this? Go away. No, it's not getting the enums. Did I mess up that template? This is pissing me off. Gonna end that. There we go. Oh yeah, sorry. So this here is saying, well, it's essentially saying don't go past this. So we just need to bring this down to the bottom because there's actually hidden things in enums like max and some other stuff. But this will just stop it here. It will do these and it will hit this one and go no more. Okay, so that should fix that. I'm just gonna relaunch and then we should hit our breakpoint here now. Let's see if we get some values here. Yep, 3. Perfect. Let's see if we get some action now. So now when we play, we should have our selection and we've got our preview with the dotted lines, and you can adjust those dotted lines or whatever you want to do. The selection is going to always be on because we just set it to true, and then if we left click our mouse somewhere, we get a destination marker. And that should update wherever you click. So that concludes the tutorial on how to make RTS VFX markers. If you'd like to get a copy of the project, it's available on Patreon at the second tier or above. If you do need any help with the project, hit us up on Discord. There's a support channel there. Just chuck a thread in there and we'll help you out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.